Hi everyone! Welcome back to C2 Novel and Vocab Week 22! And this is for our novel. Let's get started. Now, in this video, we'll be going over difficult phrases from our novel, and this is for cultural fluency. By becoming familiarized with different slang and colloquialisms, which means phrases, students will be able to relate to the novel and incorporate and use these phrases to convey, which means to show their ideas more precisely and accurately. Today, we'll be going over Charlotte's Web, chapters 19 through 22. So we're at the final quarter of the book. So let's get started. Please turn with me to page 147. 147 was part of chapter 19 called The Egg Sack. And we'll start from the very, very top. Everybody ready? Page 147. Please have your book out. If not, pause the video and go get your book and come back. Here I go. Charlotte's Web never looked more beautiful than it looked this morning. Each strand held dozens of bright drops of early morning dew. The light from the east struck it and made it all plain and clear. It was a perfect piece of designing and building. In another hour or two, a steady stream of people would pass by, admiring it and reading it and looking at Wilbur and marveling at the miracle. So here, that was the first paragraph on page 147, and I have highlighted here the light from the east. What is the light from the east? In this quote from Charlotte's Web, the phrase light from the east refers to the sunlight that comes up from the eastern direction. So when the sun rises, it is actually coming from the east side of the earth, of where we are. Imagine that the sun is like as you can see in this picture, a big glowing ball in the sky, and when it is morning, it comes up from the east and spreads its light across everything. The author is describing a beautiful scene where the strands, like the spider web, are covered with dewdrops. What are dewdrops? Dewdrops are tiny water droplets that form on surfaces like grass or spider webs during the coolness of the night. So, when the light from the east shines on the dew-covered strands, it makes them look very bright and clear. The sunlight is like a magical paintbrush, you can say, making the dewdrops sparkle and creating a beautiful sight. This description helps us picture the beauty of the morning scene with also touching base upon how beautiful the spiderweb is. The light from the east. The author could have easily said the sunshine. However, the author chose to use more vivid imagery in his writing. Okay. Page 148. Let's go to page 148. Now, again, so right now we're at the county fair, right? And next door, next to Wilbur, who is next door? Uncle, the big pig, remember? Page 148. Let's start 1, 2, 3. The third indent, and it says, don't worry. Everybody find it? Count 1, 2, third indent, and it says, don't worry. It says, don't worry about my stomach, snarled Templeton. It can handle anything. And by the way, I've got some bad news. As I came past that pig next door, the one that calls himself Uncle, I noticed a blue tag on the front of his pen. That means he has won first prize. I guess you're licked, Wilbur. You might as well relax. Nobody's going to hang any medal on you. So, I guess you're licked. Huh? Licked with their tongue? What does I guess you're licked mean in this phrase? The expression, I guess you're licked, in this quote from Charlotte's Web, means that the speaker believes that Wilbur is unlikely to win or succeed. It's a colloquial way of saying that Wilbur is facing a tough situation and challenge, and Templeton doesn't think he'll come out on top, meaning Templeton doesn't think that Wilbur will win. The term licked in this context is an informal way of saying defeated or unable to overcome the obstacle. So since Templeton had seen the blue ribbon on Uncle's pen, he's saying, I guess you're licked. You're not going to win. Uncle already won. This phrase likely comes from the world of sports, where competitors used to use their tongues to moisten their lips or their fingers to get a better grip on something. When someone is licked in a competition, it means they were unable to overcome their opponent. Similar to how we might be unable to overcome a challenge. Over time, the expression has found its way into everyday language to describe situations where someone is facing difficulties. So here, it's not really a sports, but it's just saying, Templeton is saying that, Wilbur, I guess you're licked. I think you're defeated. I don't think you can win. So that is what I guess you're licked means. You can try to use this also in your everyday, conversations with your friends. And say that we're watching a sports game. And the team that we're rooting for is at 0 and the other team is a 6. They can be like, I guess we're licked. We're not going to win this one. Because the score is too far apart. Defeated. Licked. Victory. Defeated. This person down here, licked. Page 159. Okay. Haha! This is when Wilbur had fainted. He fainted because of all of this compliments that he heard. Because he got, remember, bronze. Let's start with he's all right. 1, 2, 3. Third indent. See a big paragraph. One indent, and it starts with he's all right. Ready? He's all right, cried Mr. Zuckerman. He gets these spells. He's modest and can't stand praise. Well, we can't give a prize to a dead pig, said the loudspeaker. It's never been done. He isn't dead, hollered Zuckerman. He's fainted. He gets embarrassed easily. Run for some water, Lurvy. So now Lurvy's gonna go get some water. Lurvy sprang from the judge's ring and disappeared. Goodbye, Lurvy. Templeton poked his head from the stall. He noticed that the end of Wilbur's tail within his reach. Templeton grinned. I'll tend to this, he chuckled. He took Wilbur's tail in his mouth and bit it, just as hard as he could bite. The pain revived Wilbur. In a flash, he was back on his feet. Ouch! He screamed. I'll tend to this. What does I'll tend to this mean? When Templeton says, I'll tend to this, he means that he will take care of it or handle the situation. As you can see in the picture, Templeton, the rat in the story, notices that Wilbur's tail is close enough for him to reach. So instead of expressing concern or worry, Templeton grins, he smiles, and he chuckles. Meaning, I'll tend to this, I'll take care of it. He's probably suggesting that he'll do something mischievous or playful with Wilbur's tail. It implies a bit of mischief or trickery on Templeton's part. The use of the word tend in this context is a bit playful and adds to the humor in the situation. Templeton seems to have a mischievous personality in the story, and this statement shows that he is always being a bit tricky. He's like, I'll tend to this. I'll take care of it. Leave it up to me. And then he goes and bites him. So, say that a friend needs something from you. Or there's some kind of danger. Or some kind of problem. But you think you can take care of it. You're like, I'll tend to this. Don't worry, Mom. I'll get you the groceries. You don't have to carry it. I'll tend to this. I'll take care of it. Let's go to page 161. The reason why I said goodbye, Lurvy, because it's very important to this page here. Let's start at the very top of page 161. As Wilbur was being shoved back into the crate, Lurvy came charging through the crowd carrying a pail of water. Because, remember, Lurvy only knows that Wilbur had fainted, and he's trying to bring this water to splash it onto Wilbur to make him wake up. But Lurvy doesn't know that Wilbur already woke up because Templeton bit him. His eyes had a wild look. Without hesitating a second, he dashed the water at Wilbur. In his excitement, he missed his aim. The water splashed all over Mr. Zuckerman and Avery. They got soaking wet. "For goodness sake," bellowed Mr. Zuckerman, who was really drenched. "What ails you, Lurvy? Can't you see the pig is all right?" "You asked for water," said Lurvy meekly. "So, what ails you, Lurvy? What does 'what ails you' mean? Anyone have a guess from the context that we just read? What ails you?" The phrase, "for goodness sake," for example, at the very beginning, is an exclamation used to convey annoyance or impatience, like, gosh. In this context, Mr. Zuckerman is upset with Lurvy because he just splashed all this water on him because he missed Wilbur. The term, in the yellow, "what ails you," is an old-fashioned way of asking, "what's troubling you?" or "what's wrong with you?" Mr. Zuckerman is basically questioning Lurvy's reaction and trying to understand why Lurvy is so distressed. From the description, Mr. Zuckerman is drenched and super soaking because of the water that Lurvy just splashed onto him. So Mr. Zuckerman is saying, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? What's wrong?" So what ails you is kind of an old-fashioned way, a long time ago. Not many people say it these days, but you can if you want to be a bit funny. Like, "what ails you?" And you can be saying, "what's wrong with you?" or "what's your problem?" So that is that. What ails you? Ail means hurt, right? Ailment. What ails you? What's troubling you? What's wrong with you? Page 164. To the next one. This is in chapter 21 called The Last Day. This is when Wilbur and Charlotte are talking, and Charlotte is saying that she can't go home. In the middle, it says, "Why did you? Why did you do all this for me?" he asked. "I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you." "You have been my friend," replied Charlotte. "That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live a little while, we die. A spider's life can't help being something of a mess, with all this trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to lift up my life a trifle. Heaven knows, anyone's life can stand a little of that." So, heaven knows. What is heaven knows? Heaven knows is an expression that is used to emphasize the sincerity or truth of a statement, being very genuine. It is often employed when someone wants to convey what they are saying is genuine, heartfelt, earnest, honest. In this context, Charlotte is suggesting that perhaps by helping Wilbur, she was trying to also improve her own life in a small way. The phrase "heaven knows" has been used in English language for a very, very long time. And it's rooted in the idea of making a higher power to affirm the truthfulness of a statement. Saying like, "God knows, blah, 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 blah." But instead of saying God, you can say heaven. Heaven knows, some kind of other higher up. It's a way of saying that even if others may not fully understand, a higher power, like heaven, recognizes the sincerity and the genuinity of their intentions. So, these phrases are just saying, heaven knows, God knows, Lord knows, or you know. Just saying, everyone knows. Good. Page 166. 166. At the very bottom. Okay, I want to read almost the whole page. Bear with me. Please follow me from the first indent, okay, up here. Wilbur was in a panic. He raced round and round the pen. Suddenly he had an idea. He thought of the egg sac and the 514 little spiders that would hatch in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to go home to the barn, at least he must take her children along. Wilbur rushed to the front of his pen. He put his front feet up on the top board and gazed around. In the distance, he saw the Arables and the Zuckermans approaching. He knew he would have to act quickly. "Where's Templeton?" he demanded. "He's in that corner under the straw asleep," said Charlotte. Wilbur rushed over, pushed his strong snout under the rat, and tossed him into the air. "Templeton!" screamed Wilbur. "Pay attention!" The rat, surprised out of a sound sleep, looked first dazed, then disgusted. "What kind of monkey shine is this?" he growled. "Can't the rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely popped into the air?" Monkey shine. What kind of monkey shine is this? So he just got woken up and Wilbur put his snout under Templeton and made him fly up. And he's like, "Oh, what kind of monkey shine is this?" Monkey shine is a colloquial expression that refers to mischievous or bad behavior. It often includes tricks or pranks. So here, Templeton is trying to show his confusion and also irritation and anger about the situation that just made him wake up from his sleep. So this term, monkey shine, comes from long time ago also. It combines a monkey, an animal known for its playful and mischievous behavior, and shine from the sense of shining or performing tricks. So monkey shine, put it together, is playful and mischievous behavior. So now, no one really says monkey shine anymore. So people now would say, "What kind of mischief is this?" Or "What's going on here?" What kind of monkey shine is this? He could have just said, "What's going on?" It's just to show confusion and annoyance. What's going on? What kind of monkey shine is this? So maybe when I'm a teacher and the class is being super, super loud and no one's paying attention and just, going crazy, I'd be like, "What kind of monkey shine is this? What is happening? What's going on here? What is this craziness?" Page 169. Let's start from the second paragraph at the bottom on the page before on 168 first for the reading. Okay? Wilbur was desperate. The people were coming, and the rat was failing him. Suddenly, he remembered Templeton's fondness for food. So right now, he's still trying to persuade Templeton to help him get the egg sac, right? "Templeton," he said, "I will make you a solemn promise. Get Charlotte's egg sac for me, and from now on, I'll let you eat first when Lurby slops me. I will let you have your choice of everything in the trough, and I won't touch a thing until you're through." Top of page 169. The rat sat up. "You mean that?" he said. "I promise. I cross my heart." "All right, it's a deal," said the rat. He walked to the wall and started to climb. His stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Cross my heart. What does "I cross my heart" mean? Cross my heart? So cross my heart shares a similarity concept of, what is this? Pinky promise. Both phrases are used to emphasize the sincerity and trustworthiness of a promise. So you promise that? You sure? I pinky promise. You can also say, I cross my heart. So in a pinky, two people put their pinkies together and they cross it, showing that they are making a commitment to keeping the secret or to make the promise. I cross my heart also usually shows when people say, I cross my heart. So you'll take your finger and cross it over your heart. And it's just a visual way of saying, I promise you. So here, when he says, I promise, I cross my heart, Wilbur is saying, I promise, I will let you eat first. So then, Templeton's like, okay, I'll help you then. And then he tries to go get the egg sack. So try to say that with your friends next time. Instead of saying pinky promise, you can say, I cross my heart. Last one. Nothing is highlighted here for a very good reason because I want to talk about the whole thing. So Templeton had gotten the egg sack and he put it in his mouth. Okay. The very top of page 170. Use extreme care, he said. I don't want a single one of those eggs harmed. Which is what Wilbur said. And now from the quote. The stuff sticks in my mouth, complained the rat. It's worse than caramel candy. But Templeton worked away at the job and managed to cut the sack adrift and carry it to the ground, where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur heaved a great sigh of relief. So pretend all of these THs is an S. So here, instead of this, instead of stuff, so this stuff sticks in my mouth. It's worse than caramel candy. It's not saying it's worth than, it's worse. But imagine having I have something in my mouth and I can't talk. It's just in my mouth. So it's just a fun way, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood what he said here. This stuff sticks in my mouth. It's worse than caramel candy. And what it's talking about? Yes, the egg sack. Very good. And we're all done already. That was the last video for novel. Oh, we're done with novel videos, you guys, for the rest of the semester. I'm so sad. But I will see you guys next week for vocabulary. So no, thank you for joining me. You have to now review and self-study. So review all the phrases that we just went over. Read it out loud again or reread the chapters from chapter 19 to 22 before class. And then go ahead and do your homework. Okay? I hope this helped a lot. And I'm so glad that you watched. Can't wait to see you guys next time.